What is up, my bodyweight warriors, and welcome back to another video. Today I want to share with you how I managed to achieve the middle splits, what routines I used, how long it took me, and most importantly, 3 very useful exercises that I think you can also chuck into your routine if you do want to achieve the middle split. The reason I wanted to make this video is because I have done middle split videos and progress updates on this channel, and I've been getting quite a few comments recently saying like, where is your middle splits now? You've given us, you're getting close, but where is it now? So I thought I'd kind of summarize everything into one video, share it with you so you have a good resource if you want to go yourself and train for the middle splits. So I guess the kind of title of this video gives away the end result. I did manage to achieve the middle splits. The real question is, how long did that process take? I started training for the middle splits in October 2016, and it wasn't until pretty much 12 months to the week later that I managed to achieve the middle splits, and that was in October 2017, about 5 months ago. So it took 12 months of consistent effort and hard work for me to get from that pretty bad, stiff, tight starting point to full passive middle splits. In terms of how I got there, well, the actual whole reason I started doing the middle splits is that I created a video on this channel sharing a loaded middle split routine, and I said I was going to do this routine until I got the middle splits, and that was my accountability to make me stick to it and actually do it, was sharing a video on here on YouTube. So I'll link that down below. That exact routine is pretty much exactly what I followed for the first 5 months of this sort of 12-month crusade to get the middle splits. I stuck to it exactly. I did it twice a week. I followed the program exactly how it was described in that video. The first 3 months, as I've shared in the 3-month update video, I saw some really good progress. I got down from that bad starting point to about 15 to 20 centimeters away from the floor. So I saw some really good progress in the first 3 months. That progress slowly tapered off over the next few months, and then it was about month 7 that I kind of sent another progress video, and I was getting about 10 to 15 centimeters away from the floor, but I was really struggling to close that final gap. This is when, in May 2017, I met up with Emmett Lewis at his Modern Methods of Mobility workshop, and he introduced to me this PNF isometric technique for the middle splits, which I also shared on this channel in a middle split PNF video, which again, I will link down below. I then basically hopped from that loaded mobility routine to this PNF routine, and I just kind of stuck with that exclusively, again sticking to that twice a week frequency, and I did that basically until I achieved the middle splits. So it took me about 7 months to get down from that poor starting point to about 10 to 15 centimeters from the floor, and it took me a further 5 months, kind of centimeter by centimeter, going slowly through that PNF, just sticking to it to close that final 10 centimeters. That final part of the middle splits was by far the most painful and the most sucky kind of part of this journey. Up until that point, it felt like things were moving quickly, and then that week by week progress was so slow and so incremental, and also so painful because you're trying to really squeeze out those last few centimeters and really push yourself. Those were definitely the hardest kind of 5 months in terms of training for this middle split, just because it was so brutal, and I just had to kind of convince myself that I was eventually going to get there. I just had to keep putting in the work, which was true. And as I said, eventually following that, I managed to get a passive middle split hold, balls to the floor, in October 2017. In terms of what I've done since then, because as I said, I'd achieved it in October 2017, which was actually about 5 months ago, it takes a lot less energy to maintain something than it does to attain it. So I've basically only been training once a week since, still focusing a lot on the PNF, the end range conditioning kind of work, and I've been still doing a little bit of the loaded work as well, just to make sure I'm strong in that position rather than just loose and floppy. The one thing I have noticed, the change between when I first achieved the full middle splits to now being able to achieve the full middle splits, is that first time I warmed up with a couple of exercises for a few sets, and it took me maybe 3 working sets of the middle split to get to the point where I could get into full middle split. Whereas now, 5 months on from that point, I can get into a full middle split in about 1 to 2 warm-up sets. The amount of effort it takes me to get into that position and feel comfortable in that position is a lot less. In fact, just to kind of illustrate and be honest with you now, I will throw up a video of me attempting a completely cold middle splits right after I film this video, just to show you where my actual cold, true range of motion is in comparison to my full middle splits when I'm warmed up. And that kind of reminds me about being realistic. I see a lot of videos on YouTube that say, get splits in 30 days. Some people, yes, may be able to do that. If you've got a nice predisposition to flexibility, you might make some really good progress really quickly. but for most people, it's gonna be a long time. It's gonna be 6 months, it's gonna be 12 months, maybe 18 months for you to get to that full middle split position. So don't be disheartened if it does take that long. Be confident in the process that you're using, stick to it, be consistent, and you will eventually get there. In terms of the 3 exercises I wanted to mention in this video that I found useful along the way, in addition to the routines that I've linked in the description down below, the first is a banded frog pose. So here you're going to use a heavy resistance band. I do sell some on my website and in a shop, I'll link down below. You basically wrap that around your leg, you step out into a frog pose, and then you can kind of rock around in that position. What this does is it distracts the hips, so it pulls and makes a little bit more space in that joint. So if you get any of that kind of feeling that your hip's a little bit blocked by your hips when you're going into the middle split, this can really help make more space and help you get deeper into the middle splits. The second exercise I really like, and I've been using a lot recently, is a weighted Cossack squat. While this may not directly improve the middle splits without middle split training itself, I do find that it helped me get stronger in that frontal plane movement, and it helped me feel more confident at loading up and putting weight and getting stronger in that middle splits like pattern of training. The final exercise I found really useful for getting more comfortable around bridging the gap on the floor is the straddle up. And this is kind of the idea of moving from a seated straddle sit position and standing up using your own leg strength into a straddle or middle split. Obviously you can vary this in terms of intensity from height. You can work from a seated position and go to kind of a 70-80 degree straddle, and then you can even work it from the floor as well when you get more advanced. Those are kind of the 3 exercises I found very useful in addition to the PNF and the loaded mobility work for kind of closing the gap. But that is everything. As I said, everything in this video is linked down below in the description, so make sure you go check it out. So all the information is there to get started. It just means that you need to go, actually do the work, be consistent, and get your middle splits. If you have any questions about today's video, why not leave a comment down below, join the conversation. While you're down there, hit that thumbs up button, support the channel so you like this kind of videos. You can also support the channel by going over to the shop. As I said, you can grab yourself a heavy resistance band so you can do that frog pose, or you can grab yourself some Bodyweight Warrior merch like this very cozy hoodie I'm wearing. Finally, you can also join the Bodyweight Warrior tribe by hitting that subscribe button, just past 90,000 subscribers strong. So if you want to stick around, if you're enjoying the videos, make sure you do that. But that has been it for this week, guys. Have a strong and stretchy week. Peace.